Red, the first time I met you in Clarksdale, in the infamous video that we now have, you were talking about how you once had crowds of up to 100 people surrounding you on corners in the French Quarter.
I played like every night almost. Like sometimes I played 30 nights in a row, like on the corner of Bourbon and Canal in New Orleans. And I shared the spot with several other artists. There was a great brass band that was there every night with me. There was a saxophone player. The brass band was called the To Be Continued brass band, the TBC brass band. And there was a saxophone player, a great guy, Milton, Saxy they called him. And us three groups, we shared that spot. No, thank you. And we all made money. Every night we all made money. I mean, you know, and I wouldn't say every night, but very often I'd have like crowds of 50 or 100 or more. And, you know, I'd milk it, man, and I made good money. I mean, I was out there 7 nights a week. I was making more than, like, most professional people.
This was almost a year ago to the day. I think it's...
Well, in a week it'll be...
Yeah, in a week. You, as a result of the hurricane, have been forced to live in a van and travel, whereas
Well, okay, it's more... I mean, this isn't... It's not just because of the hurricane. You know, it's kind of a long story, but I discovered playing the streets about a decade ago. I learned how to play the streets in a way I could really make money at it. I was playing with a group, and they showed me how to do it. And then they self-destructed. That's a whole other story. But they self-destructed. And I went out and started doing it myself. Now I started in San Francisco where I used to live, and then you know, I lived in my van that summer and traveled all over, you know, Northern California playing and doing festivals. So you know, and I lived in my van before that too, at times, you know, because I had a shop, and sometimes I had a shop I wasn't allowed to sleep in, so I'd sleep in my van, but I'd live out of the shop. But then I moved to New Orleans, so what I started doing was spending my winter in New Orleans from like September, October through May, when Jazz Fest happens. I'd work New Orleans, you know, and maybe I'd make a couple of trips during the winter time, like in October I'd go to the King Biscuit or something, and maybe I'd go to Florida. I went to Key West one year for New Year's, you know, and work there. But during the summer what I would do is take all my stuff and put it into storage, and then go out of my van. And I went to California 3 years, and then this year I went up here to Mississippi. So in previous years I did the same thing. I got in my van and I went out. And this year what I did was you know, after Katrina, now I had it going on before this. I mean, I had a new CD. I was going to release my new CD in New Orleans, have a CD release party. Louisiana Music Factory was behind me. The radio station was behind me. I know everybody. I know all the musicians in New Orleans, and you know, it was going to be a really good thing. And then Katrina happened, so I ended up living in Austin, and I had to start all over again. So that's really what's been going on. Is and then I went back after Austin in March. I gave up my place. I had a great place in Austin, but it just wasn't for me. I mean, and I had a really cool gig in Austin. I was playing at this little soul food restaurant 2 days a week and making good money. And amazingly enough, I supported myself as a musician in Austin. Not too many people do that. And then I went back to New Orleans for about 2 months and realized that I can't afford to live there. I mean, the rents are like 4 times what they were a year ago. So, you know, my stuff is already packed up and in storage, and I didn't lose anything. I chose my storage facility very carefully, knowing that there could be a storm. And sure enough, when there was, my stuff is okay, and it's still sitting there right now. But I mean, I can't afford to live in New Orleans. And
even now?
Even now, it's like 3-4 times the rent. The rent is 3 or 4 times what it was last year.
3 or 4 times what it was before the storm struck.
Yeah.
Because of the damage to buildings, or
supply and demand, greedy landlords. You know, I mean, we've been displaced by construction workers. You know, the actual relief people are taking up the space that could be residents. And since I don't own a home and I haven't lived there all my life, I'm one of the people and I didn't have a place at the time of the storm. You know, I was on the road at the time of the storm, so I kind of got left out.
Can I talk a little bit?
Oh, by the way, I got nothing from FEMA. Zero. Zero from FEMA. They don't acknowledge that I have a problem because I didn't have a residence at the time of the storm.
Can I talk a little bit, not about you as a professional or as a human being, but as a man who has lived and worked in New Orleans and has returned to the scene? We have been warned by most people we've met to approach New Orleans with fear and respect, and to only tread within the bounds of the French Quarter. Don't go outside of there or you will be shot, you will be mugged, etc. What do you think of that, as someone who has lived and returned to it?
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. They told me that shit too, and I didn't listen to them. Everywhere I go, they tell me that. In Clarksdale, they said, "You're staying over there." You know, like on the other side. I was staying on Issaquina on the other side of the tracks. You staying over there? Be careful. Well, man, I never had a problem. And I lived in Oakland, California, Washington D.C., Austin. I hung out almost entirely in the black neighborhoods where I made my money. And interesting enough, in Austin, I made all my money pretty much in the black neighborhood from mixed crowd. But there is some truth to that. I mean, if you walk in the wrong neighborhood in New Orleans, you're guaranteed to get fucked with. You're guaranteed to get messed with. You can edit that out or something. But there's certain places that if you walk there in New Orleans, it's not like a good chance you're going to get messed with. You will definitely get messed with. So you have to know where those areas are, and that's why people tell you that.
Okay, well, and finally, what for you? And now are you kind of getting your bus and carry on touring infinitely?
I don't know what I'm doing, to tell you the truth, man. I mean, here comes wintertime. One scenario is that I will be able to work New Orleans come October, and I'll be able to, if I can work, I can stay in my van in New Orleans or find a place to live. I mean, sooner or later, someone's going to have something for me because I got a lot of people in New Orleans. So sooner or later, if I'm making money there, I'll be able to get a place. Another scenario is, I really like Oxford here, and I like this gig that I play. I dig Oxford. I dig northern Mississippi. I was even looking for a place to live in Memphis because I like northern Mississippi so much. And I play on Beale Street 2 nights a week right now in front of the New Daisy on Beale Street. So that's another way of going is to maybe live in Memphis or maybe find a place that's cheap here in northern Mississippi and continue to work this scene. But
and commute to Memphis.
Memphis isn't very good for making money as a musician.
Well, what struck Bob and I about Memphis and Beale Street in particular is we found it a bit of a Disneyland. Having been to Clarksdale and having sat in restaurants and shops and seen people being authentic and real, to go to Beale Street with fat Floridians with fanny bags spending stupid dollars.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's 100% true. Disneyland. That's exactly what it is. It's all fake. It ain't nothing like it once was. I can tell you. I know a bunch about the history of Beale Street, but that's a big subject. But yeah, it's Disney. It's a theme park. Yeah. New Orleans, they might try and make it into a theme park, but they'll never really be able to do it because it's so screwed. Everything's all screwed up, and they can't hook it up like that.
Screwed up, but real.
Yeah, it's all not. When I say screwed up, I mean it's not connected. There's corruption. It'll never come together where they can get a good enough handle on it to make a theme park like Beale Street. They'd never be able to do that. They're trying though. Right now they're trying. It's scary. Maybe they can do it. I don't know. I never thought they could. If you're in New Orleans, go down to Frenchman Street. That's what I recommend. Anybody who goes to New Orleans, go down to Frenchman Street. There's about 8 bars every night that play music. The Apple Barrel usually has music till 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and we all jam. Every night I'm in New Orleans, I stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning and hang out with all my buddies on Frenchman Street. You know.
Well, Red, thank you very much.
You're real welcome.
And it was a pleasure to have you in our shifty motel room.
But you got one that doesn't stink too bad.
Yes, it's not too bad, huh?
I checked one of the ones downstairs one night, and I said, I ain't sleeping here, man. I'd rather sleep in my damn van in the heat.
We tried to check out Wild Bill's room.